I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review, and this is a request for Joseph. It's a PayPal request. Thank you so much for that. If anyone is ever interested in requesting any type of review, re-review, movie topic in general, reaction, pretty much any type of video, you just send the request directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you so much. Now, the film he wanted me to review is a film called Feed, directed by Brett Leonard. I mean, this is the guy that did The Lawnmower Man and Virtuosity and Hideaway with Jeff Goldblum. I like The Lawnmower Man. I really enjoy Virtuosity. I think that's a fun movie. Hideaway is okay. I would never have known this was Brett Leonard because I guess when I think of him, I think of those VR special effects that he put in the three movies I mentioned. I was waiting for that to pop into this. Although with the story being told, it'd be very weird, but even Hideaway, it has some special effects that remind me of Lawnmower Man and such. But this, not so much. This was a weird movie, and I was at least interested. I don't know if I would say entertained, but I was at least interested because it's weird and unique because of the story that it tells. You have an Australian cop who is into... His job is a cyber investigator. He goes online, look at fetish sites, porn sites, to find anything illegal. Mainly of minors, but other stuff as well. But he gets to a website that's very heavily encrypted. It's like, why is this the case? Maybe there's something up with this. What you come to find out is you have a guy who is he's a guy, good-looking guy with a big old cross on his back, who has this woman in bed, willingly being in bed, as a gainer, and our killer is a feeder. What do I mean by that? He'll get naked and serve her food and greasy burgers and things like that, and she's morbidly obese. Remember that scene in 7 when they find the one guy dead? She's bigger than that. And she talks about how she loves him and what do you say? Feed me. Because this is, looking into it, this is a real fetish where you have guys or people who are feeders and people who like to be fed, and they get sexual gratification from that. See what I mean by this is a weird, it's a unique but weird take on a serial killer movie, and then he'll film it, and then what you come to find out is on the website there are bets being made based on weight, blood pressure, as to when this person will keel over and die. And you get a bit more into the backstory of the villain, where he had a mother who was morbidly obese and would keep asking him to feed her and feed her. Also, meanwhile, the killer has this beautiful looking Asian lady as a wife, but he doesn't tell her what's going on. Our cop is also a bit fucked up mentally because he's with this lady who keeps giving him shit, wanting him to do crazy stuff sex-wise. He tries to be rough with her, tries to do all this. It doesn't work out. These are a point where the cop wakes up and pig is put on his chest and lipstick, and he wipes it off. So you have two people who are not all there, but this cop is trying to look for this guy, investigate this guy, comes to the States, the US, to find this guy. And it's very hyperkinetic in its editing and style, which at first I was interested in, because the way it opens, almost like a weird POV of our villain driving, mixed in with patties being put on the grill, and then with cheese. And it leads up to the guy grabbing the food and then coming home to this morbidly obese lady who's tied up, but she likes it. And then he gets naked and serves her this food as she's saying, feed me, feed me. Again, I'm like, what the fuck movie am I watching? But, I mean, reviewers call it sick and disgusting, but it's not because there's not really gore. I guess the idea could be considered sick and disgusting to people. Or I guess how you view looking at naked, morbidly obese, which I believe is a costume makeup effect they gave the actress to wear. I guess how you feel about that. So I wouldn't say I was disgusted or sick. It was just strange, but at the same time interested, because with how many films there are dealing with a cop going after a killer, I can't think of a single other movie that has this kind of story. So at least that was interesting. The guy who plays the Australian cop, the actor wasn't a problem, but the character, he's written that he does some really stupid shit. Like, there's a moment where the killer knows who he is and vice versa, and this conversation. Then later on, the killer comes to his motel room, gives him a drink and food, and the cop starts eating and drinking it. I'm like, you know this guy's a killer, and he knows who you are and vice versa. Why are you just eating and drinking what this guy gives you? And lo and behold, it's drugged. I could have fucking told you that, policeman. It's your ass, Mr. Policeman. So, like, stuff like that, I'm like, how stupid is this fucking cop? So that's one thing. I would like to have had a lead that was a bit more smarter, or a little bit more likable, but part of me wonders if they did that. I'll get to that. Part of me wonders if there's a reason for that. But it does result in this really crazy bit where the killer leaves, the guy's drugged, but he snaps out of it, and you realize what he was given is making a piece of his stomach like bulge out. So he's literally gonna cut it, and all this pus comes out. It's like, ew, Jesus Christ. And again, issues I have with the film, sometimes characters do stupid stuff like that. Another part is the cop finds out, this is before he finds where this killer's at and who he specifically is. But he has a hunch. Here's this guy's sister who's a little bit overweight. And he's like, hey, you know what? I came over here and I tried to meet someone, but it was a lie. And I'm just trying to see what to do next. And in 30 seconds, this girl tells her life story about her brother, where her brother lives, all this stuff. I'm like, in 30 seconds, you don't tell him your life story? Maybe the movie's alluding to the fact that she is overweight, so she probably doesn't get taught to this way that much. But even then, no. Even a girl who's overweight doesn't mean she's stupid, and doesn't mean she's dumb, and doesn't mean she needs attention that badly, that in 30 seconds she tells her life story to a fucking stranger. I do think some of the writing could have been improved. And also, the second flaw is some of the hyperkinetic editing or style. It was interesting because I'm a sucker for style, I will admit. Because if you have a plain shot, okay. But as a visual director, if you want to play around with it, I'm open to that. But sometimes that could be a detriment. And because it got so hyperkinetic, or it got so crazy and kept going with that, you know, certain weird push-ins or camera angles, the way it's edited, it takes away any fear factor. So if this is a horror film, I was never creeped out. I didn't really feel suspense. That's why part of me wonders if you took the same bit and if you directed it like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. I'm not saying story-wise, I'm saying directing-wise. There's a difference. If directing-wise it was told like that movie, maybe you would create more of a creepy, suspenseful factor to it. But again, I thought the guy who played the killer actually did a pretty good job. I forget the actor's name. And really what before I go on, people might not understand what I mean by the style. Like, there's a moment where a guy enters a hotel room, and while he enters a hotel room, you briefly see an American flag shimmering in and out, like over here, of the film itself, like fading in and out, while the Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner is playing on the soundtrack. I'm like, okay, it's a bit too much of the style. You're losing any creepy factor that you could attain from the story. But again, I thought, on the flip side with the script, while some of the characters I think could be smarter, the positive side of the script is it made me wonder what was going to happen next, because I did not know where this movie was going, and this movie definitely is not where I thought it was heading with the story. I will say that. And that made it even more interesting and a bit more creative on the story front, which I'll get to that in spoilers. So I keep mentioning story. I do think that's the strongest part of this film, is the story. And again, the lead bad guy I thought did a good job. And you had some interesting conversations where they kind of banter back and forth. And like the bad guys mess with the good guys, saying, oh yeah, well, what about all the laws you broke? I mean, you lied to my sister, you broke in my place, you want to talk about sociopath? Oh yeah, who's the sociopath? When I say banter, it's mainly the bad guy doing the work. Like I said, the cop, that character needed some work, script-wise. I can't go forward more until I talk about the ending, so spoilers starting now. The cop, he's getting a bit more and more unsettled. Like I said, he's not in his right frame of mind either. He forces the guy's thin Asian wife, the bad guy's thin Asian wife, to tell him where he's at. He's at this farmhouse, and he gets there. He kind of sucks ass at his job because he gets caught. But then, does tell the lady there, the overweight lady, what's going on, but the lady doesn't believe him. And the lady starts shitting on the cop and hating on him and saying, you're ruining it, and you're a liar, and you're this and that, and you're a piece of shit. Pretty much what his girlfriend was telling him at the beginning of the film. The rope pig and stuff on him. Now, this is what I'm saying, where I didn't expect where this was going. Because part of me was, okay, is he don't kill the cop and blah blah blah, or before I go on, sorry I'm jumping around, then this is more spoiler section. There are some gross stuff. I said there's no gore, but there's a couple other gross moments. I mean, early on, I just to set off this cop's mental instability, one of the first cases we see him on, movie-wise, is he finds that this person put a penis being sizzled up, then finds them, and the guy's like, "It's my body, I want him to eat me, get out of here, cop." And the cop is just so confused, like, what the fuck? And I thought about that, because that actually does pertain to the ending, because now you have another person that's like, even though they're a victim, they're saying, "No, leave me alone, I'm fine with being a victim, blah blah blah, get out of here, cop, you're stupid, you ruin everything, you're stupid, you're bullshit, what the fuck you doing?" So the cop, you think he's going to shoot the bad guy. First he shoots the gainer, he shoots the girl in the head, and even the bad guy is like, he can't believe it, like. And granted, part of me is like, God, this cop just killed an innocent person. On the flip side, I'm going, well, she was a fucking idiot that he told her all the truth and she wouldn't listen, and she wouldn't fucking, not that she deserved a bullet in the head, folks, don't get pissed, but she's like, he's trying to tell her everything. It's like, you stupid bitch. He's telling you everything about it, and you're like, instead you believe in this guy, even though. And by the way, this is 10 seconds before this, the bad guy tried to suffocate her. Literally tried to suffocate her with a pillow. And he goes, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And yet this overweight lady is still giving shit to the cop. "Leave us alone, leave him with me, leave us alone." So, it kind of made it understandable why the cop would snap, shoot her. And then the creme of the ending, which I never would have guessed this. The cop is now with the guy's sister. Which, a bit weird since we've only seen them talk one time, but okay. Apparently it's been some time since. But, you know, the sister's treating the cop well, pats him a lunch, he leaves, and he makes a stop at that farmhouse, where that overweight lady's dead body's still there. But then he goes down, and the bad guy is tied to a chair, and the cop is making the bad guy starve. And you tell it's been some time because the bad guy has a full beard, he's skin and bones, and as a reflection to the beginning where the bad guy is making the lady, "Tell me, come on, say it for me, feed me, feed me." Now it's the reverse. The cop, "Oh, you want something? I got some food. Do you want some? Why don't you say it?" And then now it's the bad guy going, "Feed me. Feed me." So the cop, he's a bit fucking crazy, and he's taking it all out on this bad guy. The bad guy's getting his just desserts, so to speak, because he's going to starve to death. And this elongated time where I guess he gives him a little bit of food, but then makes him starve some more. And the movie, it didn't make me think, oh, now the cop is a bad guy. It's just, he snapped for a minute, and now he's torturing this bad guy who did this to... Because another one of the gross things I mentioned the beginning, when he got to the farmhouse, there's this room that he slipped in, and there's all these garbage bags of pieces of meat. And it's from a previous dead person. Because another woman that he force-fed and made her have a heart attack, and then cut up the pieces, fat and all. So it is a pretty disgusting film. The more I describe it, it's a pretty sick idea. And I do think some of the script needs were the cop characters not really the most likable, but part of me is like, is that a point because of what happens at the end? But at the same time, I think there's some work that could be done on that. Like I said, some of the hyperkinetic, maybe do that in the first half, but then the second half lean off on it. Like maybe that could have been like in the first half, you could be hyperkinetic and crazy with the editing, and then maybe gradually lessen and lessen, so that by the third act, when things are at their more serious and more hopefully intense, then you're basic and simple, and maybe that could be creepier and scarier and potentially. So yeah, this the editing style and some of the character work could be improved on. But yeah, the story was just so interesting and weird and unique and off the beaten path that overall, I guess I could say I liked it in that manner. It was definitely a film that was worth at least one look for me. Again, I've never seen a film with this story. I'm sure I'll never see it again. And if you like weird takes on a serial killer film, this is one to do. And it was definitely an interesting watch. I'll say that. I don't know what else to say. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.